years, so I have many years of experience. I've worked on jobs from small scale to big scale, which you guys will be doing all that as apprentices, and I should be able to help you guys with any questions you may have about projects. I have probably seen about everything in the field, and I know most everything about construction from all the projects that I've done over the years.
Hey Hayden, this is Grant Meyer.
This is Josh Cole.
This is Fritz,
and we are your new apprentices for this project. We just had a few questions for you today, mostly specifying about the foundation. We had some questions like, what would you suggest we use for the foundation?
Hey Josh, I just received your notes on the shed you guys are working on. I see you guys have a quick turnaround and we'll need some advice on this. I don't really think it's a very smart question, but given that you guys know nothing about the project, I would say that Indiana cured foundation or ICF blocks would be your best choice, just because they are the fastest to install. They don't really take much work, just because they're lightweight, and it doesn't really take any skilled labor. Like you won't need to call trades in to do it. You can probably do it yourself as a homeowner or anything. It's not really hard work, I'd say. It's the cheapest to install. You won't be spending much money on it, so it's the best option if you're trying to be on a budget, which is obviously the goal in most projects. It's also perfect for your small projects like a shed, obviously. Most people use it on sheds. I mean, it doesn't take much work, like I said earlier, and it won't be they're pretty small, so it would work in the small project industry. And then they're lightweight for work, so it won't have to be like very hard on your body, because you'll be lifting light stuff all day. And then it's also the strongest choice out of all the options, just because it'll last forever, and you won't really have to rechange it. You won't have cracks like you will in other stuff. So thank you guys for wasting my time. Appreciate it.
Dang, you just ended the call on us like that?
I don't think he was right about any of that. I mean, I feel like poured concrete might be the best option personally, but maybe we should go into more research to kind of check things out. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Okay, Fritz, so what are you looking at right now?
Oh, what's up, Grant? Well, so I was watching this really educational video about ICF foundations, and I learned a lot of stuff. They're made out of insulation plastic material with rebar already installed in the forms. And what you do is you stack the forms on top of each other, and then you pour the concrete, and then the forms stay in place, so you don't have to strip them or anything, which is a very unique and I think interesting idea. But I don't think it's a very good idea for a shed foundation or project, because their advantages are things like better insulation, obviously, better sound quality, and I think stuff like this just isn't really ideal, or it doesn't really make sense to use it for a shed. I think there's definitely better options out there.
What's up, Josh? What are you looking at?
Well, currently right now I'm looking at CME blocks as a topic for this project. So since we are building a shed, there's a couple of different options we had, and since there's some CME blocks available to us, I thought I'd take a look and see. And from what I can see, there's some advantages and disadvantages to it. Like for CME block, an advantage is that you can get multiple of them, and then you just get ground level and dig a little bit into ground, maybe just to provide some coverage. And then you get some mixed up mortar, you just stack them all together. It sounds pretty simple, but then a few things you gotta think about is the fact that weight and labor. CME blocks would take a little bit of time to get in, because obviously if you have a skilled laborer, they can get it done. But if we have some not so skilled laborers, some new rookies, it might take a little bit of time. And with the weight of those, like let's say this, we don't have the exact specs for this shed yet, but we're still gonna need a decent amount of blocks. And so we have to deal with the fact of like, we gotta transport those blocks, we gotta get them all set in, plus the time it takes, because it is a bit of a slower process, because you do go one by one by one. So imagining this is like a 2-layer process, it could take some significant amount of time. It could be a day, it could be 2 days. Plus you have to wait for it all to dry. Also, with us being in Indiana, Indiana is typically not a super dry place. We get springs are wet, winters are wet, we have freezing, blockage, and CME blocks are not that great when it comes to water resistance, as shown in one of Gick's in his presentation. a CME block foundation happened to go very wrong. And down goes 2 homes. So as you can see here, CME block, even though it might work, it might be best to not go with it. So, Grant, what are you looking at?
I'm just looking at poured concrete foundation because I think it's going to be the best option for our small shed that we're building. Number one, it's got great durability. It can withstand all sorts of seismic activity, even water damage. It's got a good resistance to that. Number two, it's not expensive. It's one of the cheapest, most cost-efficient avenues to go when it comes to foundations. And it also doesn't require skilled labor, so that's another thing. Where ICFs, as our expert mentioned, would require skilled labor, but poured concrete does not.
All right, so we know we want to do poured concrete, but what will be our next steps? Like, you guys know how to do anything, or?
Well, me personally, I know I don't have any experience with poured concrete. Do either of you?
I sure don't.
I have a little experience with poured concrete. I know, from what I know, you set the forms, then you pour the concrete, then you strip the forms. But that's pretty basic demonstration. So I feel like we should get a little bit more information from our project manager. What do you guys think?
That's a really good idea.
Well, that seems like a stupid question. You guys should know this at this stage in the of the project. I thought we should have done ICF blocks, but since you guys have chosen this path, I can give you a little insight on poured concrete. You will want to assemble the foundation beforehand and then place it into the hole once it is too big. You want to add an equal amount of water to the mix to create a strong final product. Now hurry up and get this shit done.
All right, let's not talk to this guy again. He's not providing us any good information. He's pretty cranky all the time.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a lot of the facts he was saying were just totally not right.
Well, it sounds like we need to go get some supplies, so let's go get the truck and let's go get it.
From Menards, so.
Sounds good. Say big money. All right.
Okay, so now that we've decided to do poured concrete, we got our concrete mix here, and then we have our form. This is pretty simple. I mean, when you're making actual concrete mix, you need sand, cement, and water.
Aggregate.
But we already have our quickcrete right here, so we're just going to pour it into our form. That's a lot of concrete. And then we're just going to add a little bit of water. So like the less water you have, the stronger the concrete is going to be, and then the more water you have, the weaker the concrete is going to be. This is a pretty wet mix, but this is the basics of making concrete. So now we're just going to use it and we're going to make our shed with that.
Welcome to our shed ribbon cutting ceremony. Your honors. Woo! Woo!